Greetings, everyone. Coin here. I said we'd be back at 4 p.m., didn't I? I meant it. I did go ahead and remove the face cam for the remainder of the stream. My apologies, but I had food. I would like to be able to relax. Yes, I am decent, so that isn't really the point, is it? I make it sound like if my camera's turned off, I'm not streaming in stream-appropriate attire. No, I just don't like showing my face. Sometimes I've gotten a little bit more okay with not showing my face. It's really kind of more or less what it is. But, hey, where am I? Where are my manners? Welcome back to part B of today's episode 45. We did not clear Fortisax. He's just a little too strong for us right now. So I've opted to change the gear back to where it was. And we're going to be focusing primarily on gameplay past that point. So, before we move on, we do have a few things we need to do with Ronnie's questline. Is it just me, or is it quite dark on the stream? That output looks really, really, really dark. Hold on a moment. I guess it's just that dark. My apologies. I guess you guys get the real experience. I'm getting the brightened version of this, which is really quite strange. Just gonna make sure. Yeah, it's not like it's not anything in particular. The game is just kind of dark by itself. It's not the capture card. I think that's doing what it normally does. That's weird. I've never seen it that dark before. Or maybe I just never look over. But we need to talk to E.G. Seeing as how we can't really talk to Blythe. Maybe E.G. will know something about where our mistress has gone. After all, she's supposed to be dead. Or not dead, but asleep.
Oh, there you are. Good of you to drop by. Have you heard? Lady Rani has departed on her journey. Along the dark path of Empyrean. From Rena's Rise. As she calls it. It would not have been possible without you. As Lady Rani's war counselor, and moreover, her childhood warden, I express my deepest gratitude. You and only you were Lady Rani's true champion.
Alright, friend. I can't purchase anything, but let's talk.
My purpose is nearing its end. I've served Lady Rani for as long as I can remember. It has been a long and wondrous journey. Now Lady Rani is in your hands. I pray that you serve her well. Unto the very end. Lady Rani along the dark. Now Lady Rani, I pray.
Yep. Okay, so he tells us that, hey, she's started her journey. You're not really going to be able to talk to her. But let's go. That should spur you to want to find out, hey, what is Ronnie doing at Ronnie's Rise? Let's go find that out. I always like this part of the game where you know, you stumble across the contents for a quest or an ending, and you begin to put the pieces together. Like, you notice that the plans the NPCs have told you about are moving that much more quickly now that you're involved, and involved until the very end. I think it's just super cool that you as the player get the chance. Oh, hello. Yeah, she's gone. Now it's up here. Oh, no, it's not up here, but there's now a new grace. Ronnie's Chambers. Yep. Ronnie's Rise, Ronnie's Chambers. See the correlation? I do. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that we're in someone's, sleeping arrangements. Yeah, I assume she just sits there in the throne and kind of sleeps, but now she's off to do her thing. You'd think we should be off to do ours, but if we're wanting to serve Lady Ronnie, then we can't just leave her be. We have to go find her. Just gotta be extra careful, because we awoke some wolves back there. And of course, at this point, as soon as you give the Finger Slayer blade to Ronnie, this would be that time where Celivis would have been turned into a lifeless puppet. Well, he would have been murdered. But, alright, we're here at Ronnie's Rise. I'm gonna go back over here to the Royal Moongazing Grounds. There's a reason for this. And it's because I would like to be able to get to Rena's Rise sometime today. Oh, and this has actually undergone quite a few extra changes in Elden Ring Reforged. Like, the contents of the quest are the same, but what you can do at this point, once we do what we're about to do, that is really quite different. Notice that this was closed before. It's open now. So that means we can go here. Let's just take a quick moment to take stock of Rena's Rise. Make sure there isn't something off in the distance. Something tucked under a rock. Something on the tops of rocks, or anywhere else for that matter. And don't worry, this set piece is far enough away that without cheating or hacks, you're not going to really be able to access Rena's Rise until you're supposed to. So we're at Rena's Rise. Goodness, I'm already tired. I'll do my best to go for 3 hours, but I'm not gonna guarantee 3 hours, seeing as how that yawn tells me I'm quite tired. First, let's open up this chest. We got ourselves the Snow Witch set, which the Snow Witch set, the whole set, and nothing but the set, buffs cold sorcery, Witch's pointed hat, frigid and frozen through, of a style associated with practitioners of heretical sorcery. Once worn by the Snow Crone, who the young Ronnie encountered deep in the woods, she was a witch and well versed in cold sorceries. It is said that the doll that houses Ronnie's soul was modeled after her. That old witch was Ronnie's secret mentor. Strengthens cold sorceries. And of course we can look and find the robes. There are no gloves for that set. It's just, I believe there aren't any real gloves for that set. I'll look, but... yeah. In vanilla, the only thing you needed to worry about wearing was the hat. The hat had like an 8 or 10% boost. Now the whole set has the same boost distributed across all 3 pieces. Which I think makes a lot more sense than having random hats be where all of your extra bonuses are front loaded to. That's really strange behavior. Ah, yes, and there's a portal. Where might this take us, I wonder? Well, we've gone this far. If we're interested in our master, Surely we'll go a little bit further. Think you'll be surprised where this takes us. I know I was. At first. Oh look! We're here at the Ainsel River again. Why? I thought we had explored this place. As it turns out, no, we really didn't. There was always a section of it that was barred from us. And if you'll notice, that there's the waterfall. We can't even swim across this gap. But if we were able to somehow swim, we would find ourselves... actually, we wouldn't... Never mind. I don't know why I thought it was upside down. No, you just can't go up there. I thought... I think I was thinking of the other waterfall. But, I digress. Here we need to come over for a very specific object that we will touch upon in just a second. I know, it's one of the first things you notice. You can't help but... You can't help but notice it upon entry. As soon as you pan your camera, you'll see it. But first, let us touch grass and go outside. Or inside, in a highly wooded area. Needless to say, let's pick up miniature Lady Ronnie. Yes. Now, this item ain't permanent, so let's take just a moment to read over our new find. A doll resembling Ronnie the Witch. From head to toe, every detail is perfect. This unresponsive doll seems pleasantly cool. Oh, and, we can talk to this doll, I think. Or let's try talking to dolls. Surely this will go over real well.
Oh, a dogged fellow, aren't we? Or is it merely thy habit to talk to dolls? Fine. Fine. I hadn't expected any soul to recognize me in this guise. But now the cat is out the bag, I cannot allow thee thy freedoms. Perform for me a service as recompense. Eliminate the baleful shadows which prowl these lands. The name of Rani the Witch is already sullied by thee. I will not brook disobedience in this matter. Perform for... Eliminate the name of... I will not...
Sure, we don't have to brook disobedience, but here's the interesting thing about this particular exchange. We can explore a good chunk of this. A good chunk of this new section of Ainsel River. We can absolutely do it. What we should be aware of is the fact that we'll only be able to really explore so much. For you see, in Elden Ring Reforged, you can do something with that doll. You can do a very special something with this doll. And that something is, you can take it to a special place, while the doll is, of course, active. And you'll get a special prize for taking the doll to this specific place. And let's see, do we still have that doll? It is the miniature Ronnie doll, right? But basically, what we kind of want to do with this doll is collect starlight shards. And that's about as much as I want to say. Just know that the correspondence between moon, or the correlation between moon and star is very, very, very strong. And Kernifer has really chosen to lean in to that aspect of Ronnie. Let's go ahead and pop one of these arcs. So how's everyone doing this evening? Hopefully okay. I'm doing alright. I had Easter dinner. It was good stuff. But I'm ready to get back to routine. Spending time with family is important. If your family observes Easter, share in that moment with them. You're only going to get to do it but once or twice in your life. It's something that only as I have turned 30 or older that I've really come to understand. Take time with your family while you have it. Because once it's gone, you don't get it back. Typically, people my age already have children. But it's a little bit different when... The talk is different when you're talking about the family you still have left versus the family you helped create. That is the most precious thing there is. The family you and your spouse have built for yourselves. That's right. Oh, and these are like the unborn children of Estelle. They're pretty similar to Estelle themselves. Eat one of these. Thank you for your service, Estelle, but, well, not quite Estelle. It is no longer required. Let us move on. So, I think this is probably this isn't exactly the first time. Oh, I just realized I should have marked that. I'm so used to killing things without a codex, it's not funny. Well, that's gonna be something we have to go back for in New Game Plus now, ain't it? What was I trying to do? I have since forgotten. I believe you can rot these things. So if you're wondering where or why I've chosen to revert back to a previous setup, knowing full well we're going to have to... Is this rot, by the way? No, it is madness. That's alright. Come over here, my sweetings. I will make you fair and fine. Okay, there's that rot I was looking for. So now that this thing is rotted, we more or less, to make sure... It's going to be easier chewing through it now that it is rotted. Come on, don't reach me here. Yeah, you don't want to get trapped in madness powder. Trust me, the black Miranda blossoms are not a particularly good thing to get caught by. Also have to make sure I'm getting the sproutlings as well. Alright, well come on, Sir Clayman. Yeah, this part of the Ainsel River should feel very familiar to you. mainly because we're still in that initial section. Things will take a turn for the interesting once, nice, we got runic traces. It'll take a turn for the interesting once we get past this foresty part. Because we're going to see a very different set of enemies emerge from the woodwork. And boy, will they be interesting to talk about. We may have seen some already, and in fact, we fought a pair of them as bosses, but there's still one enemy type that's here that we haven't quite discovered. And I will impress upon that discovery to you when we actually make it to where we're going. Oh, also, now that I'm thinking about it, we want to pack a little more lightning than normal. Normally we pack just honed bolt and we're good, but today I think we should pack a little extra. I know, the stream title says we're moving on to Altus Plateau, and here we are not doing that, but I promise you we will. You just gotta give me a little time to get there. There's a little bit of business that we want to take care of first. And the business is getting up to a specific point. We want to replace a Dragon Ice with Lightning Spear. And then we put on Blessing's Boon. Hopefully there isn't, like, an unborn thing that we have to go kill, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had to kill it. Oh, also, I suppose this would be a good time to demo Fia's Mist, wouldn't it? We're really not going to have a high-stakes scenario to deal with it later. So first, it's worth noting that, like all other mist spells in ERR, it generates one point of damage. 2, we're going to see this particle effect where the enemy becomes increasingly afflicted with death blight. And there are 3 different things happening here. Sure, nothing has meandered this way. Now, that was quite expensive. I wouldn't recommend doing this just any old time. But, Death Blight... Death Blight has 3 stages on an enemy. 1. First time you afflict it, they lose 15% AR permanently. This is until you die, of course, but they lose the AR regardless. Second, they lose 35% more AR. They lose a total of 50%. The 15% that never goes away, and the 35% reduction that comes with Phase 2. Phase 3, death. And an enemy who is killed by Death Blight drops 10% more runes, I think. It's either 10 or 20. It's not an insignificant amount. It's just you really have to build up Death Blight. And typically, with Death Blight, you are building up, nice. With Death Blight, you also want to have poison ticking at the exact same time. When I was doing a ERR playthrough, which I also didn't really quite beat the game before deciding I wanted to stream this, I would often have, like, fist weapons that had poison and Death Blight on them. Specifically so I could make it easier to proc the Death Blight. This is madness. We should be able to kill these things. Yeah, the Black Miranda sprouts have madness. And on the sprouts, it's incredibly easy to trigger. And of course, as a warlock, we do kind of want to regularly apply status. Yep, look, there's that madness. It's right there. And it doesn't take long to expand these codex entries either. Oh, hey, look, we got a second proc. Good stuff. If we don't want to trigger our own Deathblight, though, that would be bad. And there is a small damage proc each time the Deathblight triggers, so as not to have it entirely go to waste. There it is. We can kill things. The only reason we came back here was to mark those sprouts. And I just thought I would show off Fia's Mist in greater detail. What we want to do now, though, is, of course, move on and actually begin marking relevant, important things with the mark of the all-knowing. Sure. Are you gonna roll? You're gonna roll, aren't you? Well, if you're gonna roll in here, then you're going to die. The key, really, like, Glintstone Arc is quite good for this area. Because you're going to be dealing with a bunch of Claymen again. Ow, that's not good. Alright, let's... Oh, yeah, did I mention these guys, throw boluses? Because they totally do. They throw whirling boluses that smack you for a good chunk of damage. They do not joke when it comes to those. All right, let's try something a little bit more effective. Good stuff. I like Honed Bolt. It's gotten better in recent patching. I don't know if there's any, like, direct buffs. I'm sure there are some, like, somewhat small buffs, but I definitely feel like this is hitting hard. Hitting harder. Slightly harder. And that's just enough to make the difference. Or maybe it's the fact we're standing in water. And as soon as we stop standing in water, it'll be weaker. Let's find out. No, it still has the same damage number as... We weren't always standing in water either. I guess it's me not paying attention. You look that way and you're gonna end up getting got, good sir. No, you know what I'm thinking? It's because we have like a, 15% potency boost to incantations right here. Along with the fact we have 272 incant scaling. That's probably really what it is. And any of the other stuff is quite small. Like if we look at this, this only strengthens aspect of the crucible incantations, and those are few and far between. 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 Those are few and f Although since we don't have any starlight prepared, we're gonna want a lantern by our side. It does get rather dark where we're going. Oh, and what have we here? Formic rock. You know what that means, right? There's an ant hive nearby. And look, there are ants. Sure enough, we have found yet another center for ants. Oh, Derek Zoolander, you are the gift that gives. Ben Stiller, you are also a gift that gives. Continue giving. I need that meme. It's my plebeian, a febile mind, feeble mind loves and takes delight in such small things. Oh yeah, look at how hard all my incants are hitting. Makes sense too, we're wearing the talisman. Now, if I were really serious, I would take off the gold scarab and put on the Graven School talisman, and would probably take off the Erdtree's favor as well. You know, just lean all in on the fact that we're going to be delicate. Well-plated, but still quite delicate. Now, this, I'm quite sure I do not. I want to be... These things are winged. I'm thinking I want to freeze them. Won't hit as hard, but hey, two hits and they're out. At a ball game near you. Come this way, sir or madam ant. And you too will die a gruesome death. Now, I'm trying to remember. I believe we can... No, this isn't a shortcut. These guys are immune to rot. Are they immune to death blight, though? I wonder about that. Do I wonder enough to mess around, though? Probably not. If we can poison them, we might have... I don't know if we'll have an easier time fighting them, but... I've tried. I think they're immune, though. Oh, no, never mind. It just takes a while. Nice. I was worried about that, about them recoiling in time. At least they're taking good damage. The trick with these ants is to find the right moments where you can cast a spell, and sometimes that's right before they attack you. You might not get much of a chance to hit them really hard otherwise. If you're using like ranged or melee builds, so like bows and stuff, then you may want to try like having a quick step on a weapon somewhere and arcing around, like using the quick step to maneuver around them so you can get like a free pot shot. If you're going to do that, I also recommend a short bow, which in ERR, I believe you can already just kind of, you can already, they're just going to tag you. Nice. I knew I wasn't mistaken in wanting to... Don't even think about it. Just accept your fate. It's too bad that we can't go the normal path up here. But this would be like an area you could go. I'm really curious. I mean, we have a way back to the section we're wanting to explore. I think we can wrap around like this. We sure can. We're even meant to come up here. Look, there's a chest. I'm glad I did this. Now, do I remember what's in it? Absolutely not, but we're going to find out together. What I forgot. The Wing of Estelle. Now, I think that is new. That's ERR specific. I don't recall a Wing of Estelle in vanilla. Or maybe I'm just not looking correctly. Sword fashioned from a delicate wing, suffused with the magic of the stars. Strong attack unleashes a wave of enchanted light. Crafted from a relic of the natural born of the void, who is said to have assailed the eternal city. Unique skill, Nebula. Imbue the natural born's wings with magic to send forth a dark cloud of stars that linger briefly before exploding. We're 1 point of dex away from using something like this. Yeah, this is a curved sword that deals magic damage, which is just fantastic. If you're wanting a nice... Now, this thing does not really crit. You're more in it for the weapon skill. But if you wanted to know what was up here, and why this room kind of seemed empty, that's why. It's because the real treasure was up here, outside of the main room. Which is at least an interesting... It's at least interesting to me, in terms of... Oh, look! Something else. We can go over here. Is this, that is a somber smithing stone. Cool. And speaking of somber smithing stones, I do believe we have one that we can use to upgrade our, seal. And there's another runic trace. Yep. That's nice. And I'm glad that Kernifer, put the necessary amount of glow on the rune pieces, because if they were at the same level of intensity, luminous intensity, as normal items in Elden Ring, you would never find them, except by random happenstance. I'm really grateful that they have a really awesome glow to them. The rune pieces are another way you can kind of tell you're in Elden Ring Reforged and not just Elden Ring. Speaking of rune pieces, I think I see one over there. It isn't like, you know, a sight-piercing glow, but you can tell that something is glowing, and you'll naturally be curious enough to go see what it is. Which I think is awesome. Now I gotta check all the rooms. The rune pieces really give an old veteran like me new things to look forward to. And it isn't just, oh, I know where all these items are. Of course you do. But now there are new items for you to find. A lot of them. A lot of rune pieces. Speaking of rune pieces, what I kind of want to do now is return to Round Table Hold, or the Table of Lost Grace, and go turn in those rune pieces really quick. As a reminder, this is where you go to forge your binding runes. And additional items required, but we have them. We have rune pieces, don't we? Hold on. What am I missing? Runic trace. Shows the number of rune pieces collected. Oh, I see why. No, we're not collecting runic traces because they actually do something. We're collecting rune pieces. And the runic trace is like an extra item that is meant to track stuff. Okay. Okay, I got it. That's making some additional amount of sense to me. Now we know. Now we're going to go to Noxtella and have ourselves a grand old time. And by that I mean we should totally go back to that upper platform and make sure that we didn't miss something. Because you can't easily tell, and there's no glow. But you never know. Maybe Kernifer didn't make all the pieces glow or something. Because there are a lot of rune pieces. A lot of them. It is very easy to miss something like that when you're trying to model and give texture updates and stuff like that. I'm saying this and that a lot. This and that a lot, aren't I? It's okay, well, welcome to Noxtella, the Eternal City. For reference, we fought the dragon soldier here. Or, not here. This was the statue with, like, the grand glovewort and the dragon soldier that I farmed many times over for tons of runes. Good times. Yeah, we're on the upper end of that now. I'm sure as we advance through, we're back in the Eternal City, and that means... Yeah, now you have Nox sword stresses riding ants. But there's still sword stresses, so we don't have anything new from them. I just thought I would mark them just in case. Also, I wasn't absolutely sure if it was going to be a regular Nox swordswoman or swordstress or not. So this place is both beautiful and creepy at the exact same time. At least, that's how I find it. I just love the appearance of this place. How do I word it? It's not that it's... I guess I just like the themes of the Eternal City in general. And then I could look at this type of architecture and design for hours. I think it's that good. It really gives off the otherworldly feel that you expect to experience when you're in one of these underground Eternal Cities and you're surprised that there are plants and people here. Like, how do they survive? Don't they need sunlight? Well, no, as it turns out in Elden Ring, you can magic your way to a form of light and totally use it for a number of different purposes. Which I think is just great. Now, what do I want to do next? Yeah, she already noticed. Ow. Yep, welcome to the Night Maidens. They are also here. And so you're wondering, well, wait, isn't that a Night Maiden? What did we fight back at Nokron? We fought a special boss version of that monster. The special boss version comes with 4 separate mimics that we can scan and put in the codex. Isn't that just lovely? Now, our goal is to make it to this passage over here. And stop. Once we get to that portion, we don't want to be there anymore. Because if we go there, we're gonna fight a certain something. Whatever it is Ronnie asked us to do, and then we're going to lose the doll. We don't want to lose the doll. We need that doll. Which means putting off that quest line for as long as possible. Careful. There aren't enemies who patrol long distances in here, and they have no problem busting your chops. I would expect them to have some level of lightning resistance, considering the metal they wield and all. Yet the silver tears that we might also find here are not so... Oh, and yeah, that's another reason why I don't like fighting these. Aw, what's the matter? You're not gonna go up, you're not gonna go down the stairs. That's okay. We're gonna find enemies soon enough that we rather wish we didn't. And then we'll be begging for an out, and the game will deny us over and over and over again. Goodness, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm definitely tired, but you know, if I don't get to Altus Plateau today, I will be an outright liar, and I don't want that. Ant Skull's plate. I believe that's a shield, or if not, it's a helmet. I'll check the obvious place it won't be first. Yep, it's a great shield. Hooray! And we get 107 poison buildup, thanks to our arcane stat. Huge head of one of the giant ants which inhabit the 2 underground rivers. Used without modification as a shield. Excels at repelling enemy attacks. Giant ants are venomous creatures, granting a boost to immunity when wielding this shield. Look at that guard boost. Only the Visage shield has any higher of a guard. Well, that's not true. Look at these metal shields. But for a wooden shield, or like a non-metallic shield, this is pretty good. But you're using it more for status buildup than anything else. Which is fine. Just a thing you should be aware of. Now, we're going to find a lot of cool treasures in here. Treasures I'm super excited to show off. Because you can go through the game and miss this. If you're not on top of Ronnie's questline, you'll just miss it. Which is fine. You don't feel pressure to 100% a game from start to finish. I mean, that pressure is there, but it's... That's right, electricity kills. And look, you can set up the electrified silver tears also. We totally want to mark one of these. We're getting too carried away. Yeah, and they are OKO'd. They are OKO'd by any amount of electric damage, which is just fantastic. Oh, well, look at you up there. Is that a one with a guard on it, or... It is. Okay, we want to be careful then. Or not. Okay, weird. Also, in the city of Noxtella, expect to be mobbed by silver tears fairly often. Like, look at that one. Any others in here? No? Good. We don't need your kind. It's time to make way for the new Elden Lord. My first order of business. Forbidding godhood. That's right. Forbidding anyone tarnished from accumulating too much too much power. Send a hunt squad after you. I don't know. But the one thing that the series does make perfectly clear, and something that FromSoft has just stated over and over, and maybe not stated, but like implied, is that godhood is a real problem for the creatures and people that end up getting caught in the crossfire. Usually people that are involved with the gods end up becoming tools of the gods in some way, shape, or form. Your belief, your faith, can be twisted, manipulated, and used against you for a variety of purposes that you may not support. And it's up to any person who has any amount of faith to have a sufficient amount of intelligence, some amount of wisdom. Know when you're being used. Because you don't want to be used. I mean, nobody does. Nobody enjoys the feeling of being used. It's just awful. And when you find out, it's how do I put it? Not with that gravitationally high amount of silence. No, I sneezed there. And it ain't like a sneeze either. Betrayal has a really harsh sting to it. Something that people usually harbor revenge for. Or feelings of revenge and resentment. I don't know. I guess here's an engagement question. Has anyone ever been used or betrayed by someone else and you found out that you're being used or betrayed? I would say you can start with your stories of cheating anytime now, like cheating on another person, but that's a special kind of betrayal. That's when another person you're involved with that you sincerely care about, it actually betrays you. That's a completely different feeling. It's the same principle, but the feeling is of a different magnitude. You see what I'm saying? So, I guess to more specifically put my question, or to reframe your question, my question. Has anyone ever gotten betrayed by like a coworker or someone that you had to put some amount of unwitting trust into? I don't think I've ever had the misfortune of experiencing that, and I hope I never do, for the record. But I really feel for those who have, because betrayal is something you would kill over. It is something that has led to many a murder plot. And I mean that in the real world and not just, hey, look at this mystery novel. No. People have murdered over money, love, and spite. People tend to kill for that sort of thing. And I hope I never have to experience that. It's one thing to say, it's another thing to really feel it. Like, to feel that level of ire toward another person or another thing. This, I believe these are swordswomen? Never mind. No, I think these are monks. Okay, I got scared of the silver ball. So as soon as you step into this room, there's like a silver ball, or maybe it's whenever you attack one of these like hammer wielding Nox people that it's also the last rune arc I think we can make. Yeah, there's this there's like a sentient giant silver tear that comes after you, and it's really quite frightening. Try dodging this. I think you're going to find that you are unable to do so, Night Maiden. Now, this place is very serene, quiet. What am I doing? Oh, right. I think I just have less resistant to less resistance to lightning damage than normal. I said any amount would kill them. I guess that's not quite true. They're just really, really receptive, unresistant, maybe even weak to lightning. I love hearing the noise of silver codexes being completed. Silver codexes of the all-knowing being completed. All right, sir. You can drop down from that now. Luckily, as long as we don't step into any rooms that we activate, you know, on the way back, we should be fine. Now, here is where we died. Let's see if we can trigger that giant silver tear a different way. Yeah, look, there's one right there. That's right, you stop in your tracks. I don't think he'll be ambushing me today. And yeah, that one drops a larval tear. Nice. We might need that later. I'm definitely gonna need it later when we go back and deal with Fortisax again. Really, for those who missed it, we spent 90 minutes in a sort of a abbreviated stream working toward killing Fortisax. We couldn't get there. I just don't think we had enough power. We had some great attempts, though. I spent 45 minutes with Loretta's Great Bow, and I spent 45 minutes with, you know, Warlock strats. I'm not sure which I like better when it comes to dealing with Fortisax. I think my inclination is definitely toward poison, but really, with Fortisax, you can go either way. You could go either way in dealing with it. All that you really have to have for Fortisax is good power, of which we are currently missing. Oh, I killed them both. I didn't mark them. For shame. That's okay, we'll have more. I just can't forget. Night Maiden and Sword Mistress puppets. More puppets? Why? Also, we never checked out our spirit ashes. Let's do that before we forget. We have ones from... No, we're looking for, like, non-human ones. I think we had Clayman ashes. Bowed with age, these spirits are sluggish but hard to stagger. The warped remains of priests who searched for revelation in the service of their ancient dynasty. They employ two sorceries that produce smaller and larger bubbles. So if you want bubbles, lots of bubbles, check them out. Then I think the other one I am most sincerely forgetting. Huh, I could have swore. I think they might have just been the puppets then. Guess so. Alright. Night Maiden and Sword Mistress puppets. An old puppet crafted in the Eternal City. Used to summon the spirits of a Night Maiden, and a Sword Mistress. These sisters, members of a cold-blooded race who wield flowing weapons, became puppets of their own volition. That's right. Here, I guess, apparently, the Eternal City, they were practicing the heresy of puppet craft. One of the many reasons this city got buried, I'm sure. Yeah, and if we didn't like Dolores, or, you know, the opportunity to make Nefeli Lu a puppet, we surely would not... We surely don't like finding puppets in other places. But I suppose you feel less sympathy for the Night Maiden and Swordstress because you only know the enemy. You only know them as enemies. You don't know them as allies or as interesting NPCs. You don't get the chance. And you also just don't know who they are, except, you know, a pair of citizens from Nox who became puppets of their own free will. I think that's got to be the most disturbing part of it, right? Is that they were just puppets because they wanted to be, and you don't understand the why, and you might not ever get a chance to. So look, there's another silver tier up there. I'll take expanding the silver tier codex for 500, Alex. Yes. This silver tier appeared at the top of an internal building inside this city. Alex, what is Noxtella, the Eternal City? Ding, ding, ding. Okay, I don't know where I was taking that freaking segment, except, you know, doing something completely arbitrary for no reason at all. I want to be real careful about opening this. Feels like a trap, doesn't it? But we killed the trap earlier. That ball would have dropped down the second you open this chest. So it's good that we take care of it now. I think we got a great glove wart out of the deal. Yep, sure do. We have 3 of them. We can get 3 plus 10 Spirit Ashes, renowned ones, legendary ones, which is just fantastic. I love getting legendary Spirit Ashes. What do we have here? Not a whole lot. I'm always on the lookout for rune pieces now that I know they exist. And, you know, that the update has... The Elden Ring Reforged update has put them in as like a secondary leveling system, let's call it. Yeah, I'm constantly on the lookout for any potential passive stat increases. And notice that we haven't gone anywhere where our skills haven't been useful. Or, that is to say, we haven't gone anywhere where we've been over or under... Not under... Yeah, where we haven't been under-leveled for anything. We're about where we're supposed to be. It's just interesting that, okay, I believe we don't want to go through that set of doors yet. We want to go through these doors first. Because there's no cut-through to any of the other buildings. Or he would say this, except there's nowhere to go in that building. Yeah, the architecture can also be a little bit confusing at times. You think something's a door, and it's not. Because we have had to open doors in here. Felt something fly on my head. Ugh. Come on, don't teleport one of these silver balls in here. I really don't want to be dealing with them. And these rooms in Noxtella are not that difficult. There are some ambushes you do have to watch out for, but it really isn't that bad. I always liked this leg of the journey for Ronnie's quest, like in trying to get that ending. Because I hope you guys realize that's what we're working toward, right? Is an ending. Just like with Fia's questline, we're the challenges we're facing continually get harsher and harsher each time, and ultimately concluding in a boss of some kind. Or at the very least, that's how they want you to think anyway. FromSoft definitely will pull the wool over your eyes on some of this. Okay, we're gonna try to make this jump over here, which we totally can. This just seems like a place where you can hide stuff. Ah, Kernifer, you crafty devil, you. Yes, I knew my intuition would be served well by checking this alcove over here. Always check your alcoves, folks. Speaking of which, can we go over here? I know sometimes mods add new areas in Elden Ring. I don't think so. You can't really go further either. You notice I'm trying to be really careful so that we don't end up going places we shouldn't and getting stuck. But I don't think we're meant to go here. Goodness me, I have yet to take an intermission. I suppose I can wait another 17 minutes and take one. We're already really trying to explore. So let's explore. Also, maybe not right here, but we do have... Oh no, never mind, it is right here. You're not getting away from me today, Smithing Stone Scarab. And yes, we don't really have a whole bunch of the scarabs unlocked for codex entries, so that is one of the reasons why I'm bothering to attack them at all. Oh, hello. Why can't we just rest here? I didn't have to attack this. Wait, what the heck? Hello? Well, I guess everyone should be on your guard, because we haven't been here before. I think Kernifer forgot to set the flag for this, because I'm in the back of my mind, I was like, wait, what? We're not supposed to be able to go here yet, we have to find it. But I saw it on the map and just chose to ignore it. But yeah, you totally can. Let's make one of these just in case. Any silver balls? Wouldn't be surprised if we found them. Nope, instead we have silver tears. We're gonna rot them out of the sky. That hurts. Hurts a lot. Let's make sure we mark this one just in case. Yes, sure, stab the ground. I'm sure that weapon art was going somewhere, but... I believe what lied in here before was, yeah, like these silver tears were here, and this swordstress was here, but if my memory served me correctly, it was kind of just a big building with like 1 or 2 treasures in it, and nothing more than that. Just making sure. Yeah, if you'll take a look, here's another one of these chairs, in the Eternal City, so you know something good's in this one. Look at that item glow. The Moon of Noxtella. Let's take a look. It looks like a talisman to me. This legendary talisman is a treasure of Noxtella, the Eternal City. Increases memory slots and slowly restores FP. The talisman represents the lost Black Moon. The Moon of Noxtella was the guide of countless stars. I love treasure. That's all I'm hearing in my head. There are people who are like, I've actually watched an LP. Maybe, I don't know if it was specifically of, like, Elden Ring Reforged, but someone found a treasure and, like, was like, that was a wall of text. I ain't reading. Happy for you, or sorry that happened. Either way, treasure. When people really don't want to read 4 or 5 sentences, I'm going, wait, why are you doing an LP again? why are you doing a, why aren't you reading these items? There's a lot of good story here. Yeah, I believe you can get down from here. So, like, there is, but it's kind of a one-way trip. So you gotta make sure that you've discovered everything, or else you're just gonna be back on this upper Noxtella chair crypt. Good to know that it's a chair crypt and not just any kind of crypt. And we're in a completely different place now. Beautiful. Simply beautiful. We only have maybe about 1/3 of the region to go before we can, turn toward the surface. We still have 12 minutes before we got to take an intermission, as we have 3 hours together, and we've already spent 1 hour and 18 of that. I would like to make sure we have a chance to thoroughly explore and soak in everything that Noxtella has to offer us. And yeah, you can totally go back through here and, like, take these bottom pathways. There's totally a thing you can do. Forget, did we tag these ants? Yeah, we already tagged these. I think we can get 2 of them. Nah. Close, but no cigar. And honestly, I'm happier that way. I don't mind if I tag 2 enemies with incants, but I'd really rather not deal with them if I don't have to. Fighting groups of enemies in FromSoft titles is generally obnoxious. It's supposed to be. You're not designed to fight more than, like, 1 or 2 at a time. And if you do, you better be prepared with an exit strategy. Just look at all this expanse we still have to cover. I'm wondering if I should just take that break right now. Now, I said I'd give you guys 10 minutes, and I meant that. It's just kind of a lot to take in. That's all. Plus, once you go down here, there really is no way back. Except by, using the, like, fast traveling there. That's your only recourse, is to fast travel. You can find all kinds of stuff in Noxtella, or these really dark places. It's certainly less empty with the rune pieces now. I really just can't... I don't have enough words to thank Kernifer and Company for Elden Ring Reforged, and the fact that there's continuous work being done on it every day, every week it seems like we have a couple of new patches ready to play with, new spells, new ideas. It's great. And if you want to get to be a part of, you know, that process, I recommend typing in !ERR and going to the description page for Elden Ring Reforged, because I think I take you directly to the file with that command. And there's a link to the Discord right there. I think you might also find one on the wiki. In which case, yeah, you use your whip sword. I do like that thing, by the way. These whip swords are really freaking cool. But needless to say, if you want to be part of that community, there's a Discord. It's free to join. And there's even like a coffee page set up if you want to donate to Kernifer. Remember, you're not donating for Elden Ring. You're donating for Elden Ring Reforged. And not because you're donating for the mod itself. You're donating so they can have an easier time working on Elden Ring Reforged. And they're not taking such a fat L working on it instead of whatever their daytime job is. That being said, this is Kernifer's passion. There's no way I could foresee them running out of time or ability to work on it unless some extenuating circumstance showed up. So please don't treat ERR as something for something you have to pay to access. You're donating so the chat can continue to do their work. That's not continue, but there's no way I can sell it that won't make it sound like I'm trying to sell, that I'm not encouraging people to buy modded assets. But I hope people get the spirit of what I'm trying to say. Donate because the guy does good work. That person does good work. And not because it's a FromSoft product in particular. Because this isn't a FromSoft product. The FromSoft product is Elden Ring, in which you spent $60 to go buy, or however much it costs where you live. You paid at least that much. The mod is a free bonus. All you have to do is go over to Nexus Mods and grab it, and start playing. Although I will say the Nexus mod comments are an interesting read. Kind of seems like people don't really take the time to understand exactly what the mod's working at. I saw that game. Or, you know, I can understand why people might get mad at, let's say, the Godskin Noble elevator fight. There were a lot of people who did not like that change, who did not like that fight at all. And I 100% don't blame them. Fighting Godskin Noble on an elevator, even as heavily nerfed as that one is still a rough experience. At least the first few times while you're doing it. The bridge was more of a comedic thing. The elevator was where the real challenge was at. I'm personally neutral to the elevator Godskin Noble. I neither like nor dislike the fact it's in an elevator. It was just kind of rough to handle because of the narrow space at first. That's all. So for context, we're up here. If you guys recall, we got a rest site for defeating the dragon soldier of Noxtella. You can't jump to the chair. You can't jump anywhere. You'll die. So don't don't do what I did my first time. I was definitely a dum-dum and tried to, I tried to go down to some kind of hidden ledge. There ain't no hidden ledge. There's just nothing there. Just throwing that out there for your benefit. Because I'm the person who knows not to jump down that far, but I'm too curious. I wanted to know what was there. I wanted to know if you actually could survive that fall. If there was something hidden there. This section is probably one of the more tedious sections. Just because of the fact that... Oh, this one's one of the ones that likes to spit stuff at you. These ones, if you're coming in from the other direction, like you chose to take the lower route instead of going up above to grab, like, the moon of Noxtella, you would have had these guys peppering you with pierce damage, and it would not have been fun. Yeah, look, you may not stagger, but boy does it hurt. You have like 2 seconds to get out of the way, and then blammo, you die. Let's turn on a lantern. We need one. It's a little dark in here. It's so light and yet so dark at the exact same time. Nice, we timed that just right. Yeah, there's kind of a pseudo duck built into the lightning spear. I've dodged overheads in Dark Souls 3 for the same reason. Like, I just happened to have my hurt boxes move with the duck, because the animation didn't really change from Dark Souls 3 to Elden Ring. It's the same animation. It's just maybe... Well, it's actually quite slow in Elden Ring. It's a little bit faster in ERR. And, let me just say, there's nothing more satisfying than getting the attack off, or, like, finishing your spell cast, as you are... what am I trying to say? There's nothing more satisfying than getting a spell cast off and dodging like a head strike or something. It gives me Matrix vibes, and it's really cool for like the split second that you get to dodge. But if you get too cocky, you'll have to you'll be punished for your transgression. Oh yeah, when they ride on ants, they get really obnoxious. Look at how long that reach is. I'm like almost, 3 seconds away, and almost 3 seconds away, and you still feel like you have to roll out of the way. Their swords can reach a long way away. Well, goody for you, sword mistress. You could sit there and lie on your back. I'll just jostle your head a little bit. And enjoy that stupefied look on your face. Oh yeah, don't make this mistake. Get off that ledge. I know, we're supposed to take a break. We're supposed to take a scheduled intermission. But now is not a good time. We want to make sure we're not going to be ambushed by a patrolling swordstress. Because look, see that one looking up at us? Yeah, we definitely are not gonna want to take a break until she's dead. Failure to kill will result in our failure as well. Go ahead and put on a blessing. Yeah, see, oh, don't be anywhere near that. Don't be anywhere near that. There's also one other enemy here, besides like these silver tiers. And I believe they're snails. If my memory serves me correctly, I believe they're snails. Yep, look, there's a snail right there. These are different than the crystal snails we bumped into earlier. These are just regular snake snails. They have the same, they have like a similar moveset, but I don't think they have that, rot breath or crystal breath anymore. They have a different breath. We're just gonna use 2 of those and take you guys out. Yeah, and don't let them. If a place looks empty, try checking the ceiling. You might be surprised what you find there. Is there an item over? Nope, that was just the glint of starlight. What was that snail doing? Just like standing there, you know, with eyes wide, mouth open. Ow. I can certainly see why they call them snake snails. Their necks kind of look like they have scales on them. And they sort of have a more serpentine appearance. It's kind of hard to describe. Nice, we got a triple. Triple kill. And we were just missing that quadra. Gotta have that quadra kill. I love Javelin of Gold. It's amazing. It's still such a house. And in the, oh look, another item. I'm quite sure I could have taken my break at one of these earlier points. I'm just still not sure I want to risk being ambushed by a Noxstellan Sorceress, of which I'm fairly sure I would not survive. I am very fragile. She's up on that battlement. Okay, she's moved. So I guess what I'm going to do is just go over there and kill her. Hopefully there's not something else lying in wait for us. Make sure we don't stay anywhere near the, near that, swordswoman on an ant. A real center for ants. Sorry. Derek Zoolander is stuck in my mind. The show is... The film or movie is just so stupid. It's so stupid, it's funny. It's hard to describe. But I love it. It's really is quite the meme. Alright, let's open up this bad boy. Yay, we can upgrade our Mimic tier now. Awesome. We're not going to do that yet, though. Instead, what we're going to do is take a break. This one's going to be 5 minutes, folks. Gotta get up and do serious stretching, refill a drink, all that fun stuff, and I will see you at the end of these 5 minutes. I'm going to play a 90-second ad, so feel free to take a break for at least that long, and I will see you after the break. I am back. Oh, so sorry about that. I think I might have been a minute over. Maybe a minute over. Just, had to do some logistical handling with my folks that I live with. That's all. We are good to go. We are ready to return to this lovely little, starscape on the floor, or underground starscape. There we go. Yeah, you and your aunt died to madness. Hopefully everyone had a good break. If not, I am so sorry for whatever caused it to stink. Hopefully it's something I can remedy with some good old-fashioned commentary and discussing what we intend to do next. And what I intend to do next... Okay, we're marking you this time. I believe these are one of the monks that are here. Okay. Don't you dare hide behind that for cover. Yep, monks. Here, these were the ones I intended to mark earlier, but I guess I never got the chance. These monks use the hammer. And they're usually a fun time. They aren't quite as live as the sword stresses are, and the Night Maidens. They're a little bit less agile. They're still agile, but they tend to be more direct because they got a mace instead of a sword. But the trick is not underestimating that mace, as that mace still has incredibly long reach. Nice. I figured Kernifer might hide something behind here. Yeah, this was such a shame. In vanilla, there's nothing here. It's just formless expanse that leads to nothing. It's beautiful. It's got a great view, but that's all it has. There's no motivating reason to come back here. In fact, I see a lot of people just skip it because it's not significant whatsoever, and, well, really, I think FromSoft bit off a little more than they could chew with Elden Ring, personally. Yes, I'm glad there will be DLC, and they're attempting to fix it, but really, all the DLC that FromSoft has produced has always been, here's this missing content that should have been here from the start, that we ran out of money to put into place. So here it is, in DLC form. I mean, that sounds harsh. I know it may not be exactly due to Miyazaki's intentions. FromSoft is a company that tends to have problems. Specifically with Dark Souls 3, I know there were a lot of time crunches. And the people who work there do great work. I don't want to say, they shouldn't have done this DLC. That sounds so ungrateful. But at the same time, I can't help but wonder if they were given more time and more money, would they have been able to make, not better, but perhaps more complete work? The mind really just wants to know these things, and, you know, Miyazaki's still alive. We can at least ask him. He may not want to answer, but we can at the very least ask. Once Miyazaki parts from this world, we won't have that opportunity anymore. We'll just have to rely on written memoirs and things he's written about but chosen not to say, for one reason or another. It's always a little different when you read it versus say it. Kind of like how in the movies. In the movies, they sort of cut out the stuff in the books. Like whenever you have one of these adaptations, they tend to cut out a lot of stuff. Just due to time, or it's not important, or there's not enough money involved. It always stinks, but that's the trade-off people have to realize, is that if we could have adaptations that are a lot closer to the books, you know, there would be running series that would last for decades, because that's how long it would take to display some of the stuff in the books. My mom has read the Highlanders, or the Outlander series. Mom's read the books. My mother has read the books. And there's a lot they left out of the books when they made the Netflix series. There's a lot they left out of there. And, you know, the Outlander Netflix series, for those who watch it, you should be aware, it's pretty freaking explicit. Oh, God, it is so explicit. I don't want to be caught dead watching that in front of children. I would never show my kids, if I were to have children, I would never show them the contents of that series. It's way too explicit. So much raunchy stuff. Not to mention all of the brutal lacerations. They really... I have to give the people who are doing that series props. That they leave almost nothing to the imagination of what they do show. It's gruesome stuff. And it's almost like watching Game of Thrones in some capacities. You really gotta have a stomach for what they show you in Game of Thrones, because it's gory, it's brutal, or it's explicit. Ugh. What can I say? I'm a little bit of a prude. I like a lot being left to the imagination. When it comes to, like, film, I guess I gotta be primed for it. You gotta search the stuff out. You gotta know you're looking for it. I don't like just randomly bumping into it with fairly little time to react to it in the show or film. And even games. I don't much care for that in games. There's a scene in Mass Effect 2. I'm not going to describe it in great detail, but in Mass Effect 2, one of the characters, Miranda Lawson, I can at least mention that much. It's kind of an old game. You can romance her. And I wouldn't say it gets explicit. I mean, all the characters keep on their clothes. Maybe with the exception of, like, Jacob. The other human officer aboard, like, among your crew. But, you know, I would say it gets a little bit more suggestive with the scene with Miranda Lawson. And Miranda Lawson has some great scenes, let me tell you. She's a nicely well-written character. She's a lot better written than, again, I hate to throw Jacob under the bus, but I would definitely throw Jacob under the bus. He's not... Speaking of which, I want to take an opportunity to sort of stop what I'm doing and mention the fact that we completed Blasphemous last Wednesday. And we got a chance to vote. We have a community on my Discord. I'll show it off to you. Where is it? Yep. If you get in with a tier 1 sub, and I gift one every 15th of the month or so, you have the nice honor of being able to vote on content. Isn't that just fantastic? You can vote on the content. I swear something is making this darker than it should be. And I don't understand why. I don't think I'm not applying a tint to my game or anything. And if I adjust the brightness, I'm quite sure the brightness is, auto detect best rendering settings. Nope, we don't really want that. maybe that's a little better for you guys. Although this is in a dark environment, so I'm not really sure yet. I don't know. I feel really iffy about adjusting brightness. Really iffy about adjusting it. I already adjusted so that I'm not, you know, stumbling around in the dark. Like, with Elden Ring, not Reforged, but, well, I don't know. Reforged does mess with the lighting a little bit. There are a lot of cut corners when it comes to the light boxes. Or, like, what has a lighting source and what doesn't have a lighting source. And where exactly the rays that are emitted from the light source are going. What the heck? I'm used to having torrent in this section. The fact that I'm having to kind of do it without torrent is already kind of, or maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know, don't quote me. But what we're trying to do now is... I could have swore... Oh no. Am I not able to go back? Oh no, I think I just made it all the way up and down. I think I already spanned the pace of where we were going. I'll look and see if they're missing materials. But for now, what we're going to do is try to make our way down. Yes, we can go down. That is a place we can go. Wow, I actually think you have to go through the chair crypt now. Okay, that's fixable. And then as soon as we make our way to that rest site, we can, we'll talk to Ronnie, the miniature Ronnie doll again, and then we will, excuse me, pardon me. Oh, well, before that, we should empty our runes. We don't want too many of those left over. Might as well put the point in arcane while we can use it. Excuse me, pardon me, just gonna walk through here, hopefully without triggering the ire of any of the enemies that have gone over there. So now what we want to do is head right instead of left. And we'll also want to take just a moment and refix our flasks when we next rest. I do promise I am going to go through some of Altus Plateau today. We won't get to do that much of it, but we will do some. It's a beautiful place. Altus Plateau is one of my... I like Liurnia the most, mainly because there's just a lot to it, a lot to appreciate in Liurnia, but Altus Plateau comes at like a close second for me. Just because of all the nice golden color, it's very pretty to look at. There are also some not pretty things that we can totally look at as well, but there are certainly some tears in the landscape, but you can still appreciate the picturesque views, almost like you're looking at stuff in pastel. It's just... you have to see it. You have to see Altus Plateau. And we did take a brief detour into Altus Plateau. You just have to see it for yourself. I think in episode like 31 or 2, we went into Altus Plateau. Don't feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. Okay, I guess you do have to take the right out of here. Good to know. And that means we'll check out the cliffside first. How's everyone enjoying the gameplay so far? I don't exactly pride myself on being, oh, I'm big dumb gamer. What the heck? What happened? Okay, I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, this one's alive, though. How about I unalive you? And it's exactly those moments that really make me think twice about fighting the sword stresses. Because you think you can poise through one of their spells, and you can't. You just end up eating it instead. What was I saying? Oh, I guess I want to take a moment. I've forgotten what I was going to say, by the way. But I do want to take the opportunity to thank you guys so much for stopping by already. I really appreciate the company, even if it is just lurkers today. I really do appreciate it. Lurkers make up the backbone of any good stream, and no stream can exist without them. So I'm hoping that if my voice is keeping you focused or relaxed on a task, or maybe you've fallen asleep to me. I had one person tell me that I was good sleeping material, good ASMR, feel like that sort of thing. I hope I'm filling that role for you quite well. And I'll do my best to keep that space, you know, that audio space full of things that I can talk about, but I can only do so much. I do have... Hello there. Why are you rolling that way? And there's another cerulean tear scarab that I will not be getting the opportunity to scan. What is that cerulean beetle doing? Alright. I guess I'm not going to complain if you're going to sit there. Any more of you? I don't think so. Yeah, you also do get 1 or 2 fragments of Celestial Dew while you're here. I believe this is the second one. So if you're like, oh man, I really screwed up with this NPC and I need to fix it, head over to Noxtella. I mean, you do have to, you know, do Ronnie's questline, but if you're doing Ronnie's questline already, surely you're wise enough not to have to need the dues in the first place. But if you do need them dues, come on over. Noxtella will get y'all sorted out. You only have to fight a few, like several ants, 50 or so silver tiers, and like 10 or 15 swordswomen to get it. Nox people, Starp, like the eternally forbidden people. I don't know how I would describe them in a amusing or completing way. I think we want to just... Oof. That hurts. That thing skull bashed me. What do you want to bet that could fracture some skulls? Like, just, like, and I would love to study the structure of this thing. I would love to know how it's made. Like, is it all, like, keratin? Or chitin? Or is it something more intricate than that? Sorry, the budding scientist in me is very curious and definitely wants to know how these things, how these ants have developed their skulls, what kinds of enzymes were used in its production, and could it be something that ants would or would it be something for ants to sort of use to select desirable mates? I don't know. Big insects tend to be female. That's not always the truth, but it's true a lot of the time in the insect world. can we hit them mid-air like that? This ant doesn't quite know what to do with the fact that we're hitting it from behind, even though it's looking right at us. I think that takes care of everything up here. So our next stop is down below. And we're going to talk to Miniature Ronnie one more time. And I think she might have some stories to tell us. And then we're going to leave that task. Dang it. I wasn't watching where I was going. Now I gotta go up there for the chair crypt again. Thankfully, we still have a rune arc, but boy, are we out of those now. Whatever. Whatever, I guess. Also, I was quite sure there'd be the stance of Night and Flame, but maybe that only works when, you know, the item in the offhand is, like, not... Or when it's main hand, because I have the offhand set to block right now. So, like, we can block with the sword, but it kind of loses its skill. It's really interesting stuff. Oh, and I've been keeping my ear to the ground. There's currently some work in, like, modding tools for Elden Ring that lets us make new animations. I think they do still have to be existing ones. But pretty soon we'll be able to make, or we'll be able to find some really interesting material in Elden Ring, and I can't wait to see what Kernifer does with the like the new tools. Just gonna walk nice and slow, then pick it up a bit, and then slow it down again. Then, I guess try to deal with these ants. These ant riders, I guess. Try dodging now. Oh, I guess you still can. Okay. That's fine. Oh, that gave me the spooks. Alright, sir. You want it? You got it. Thankfully, our runes shouldn't be that hard to pick up. We just have to pay attention. I say that all the time, but it really is the secret to having a good time in Elden Ring, is just having keen eyes and ears and, you know, getting out of your own headspace long enough to keep your wits about you. Long enough to survive whatever is being thrown your way. I'm speaking really generically, and it sounds like I'm rambling, but it's the truth. Like, you're rewarded for good exploration in FromSoft titles, but if you don't keep your wits about you, you'll never get to explore. You'll never get to see what's round that corner if you keep dying to the nearby Nox Swordstress over and over again. Right, here we are. And I bet you there's a rune piece here somewhere. But before that, let's listen, let's talk to Ronnie. I'm glad that indicator is there.
Let us speak of the past a while. I was once an Empyrean of the demigods. Only I, Mikola, and Melania could claim that title. Each of us was chosen by our own two fingers as a candidate to succeed Queen Marika, to become the new god of the coming age, which is when I received Blythe, in the form of a vassal tailored for an Imperium. But I would not acquiesce to the two fingers. I stole the rune of death, slew mine own Imperium flesh, casting it away. I would not be controlled by that thing. The two fingers and I have been cursing each other ever since, and the baleful shadows are their assassins. Even when I turned my back upon the two fingers, Blythe remained my loyal ally. Though he was created a vassal for an Imperium, he was a colossal failure on the part of the two fingers, Blythe and E.G. both. Art willing to give too much to me, yet they both understand what lieth beyond the dark path, that I must betray everything and rid the world of what came before. Should I add thee to the list? Another one, kind of heart, as kind of heart as they. This form hath loosened my tongue. I've let slip too much. Forget what thou'st heard. Forget. I've let slip, forget what thou'st...
Yeah, so she straight up tells us that, yeah, she was a candidate to essentially become a new, I wouldn't say consort to Queen Marika, but like a replacement. And she would become a consort for Radagon instead. So, of course, the gods are like this myriad form of themselves, and all kind of turns and twists inward on itself. What a strange world where the gods are part of themselves. They're part of like the same being. Yet they're completely different. Yet they're the same. You see where I'm going with this. When the gods say that, when one or more gods say that they're the same, or I guess the game outright tells you they're the same, that's when it really hits you. Like, wow. Following the story of the gods and their interactions with each other is very confusing. But as lovely as this waterscape is, if we do this quest, we will lose out on the item. So let's not do that. And instead, let's take a trip through Altus Plateau. We've done everything we can. We still need to collect more Starlight Shards. If it would like any chance at completing, like going for 100%. Like 100% items. And I guess now I have to include rune pieces and codex scans. Oh, you could bet your bottom dollar there's probably a rune piece back here. And if not, I'm going to be really surprised that Kernifer didn't add anything here. Seems like you totally could. Kernifer's eye for detail. Well, I shouldn't say only Kernifer. Kernifer is a group of people. If you don't know, Elden Ring Reforged now has a small team of people. I would say the 2 or 3 main ones are probably, well, I say small team. It really is just 2 other people I'm aware of. You have Evidian, who does a lot of, like, the high-res images and art. And you have Brubballs, who makes... That's the Discord name. People don't get upset at me, please. That's the Discord user who's responsible for making spells. But really, there have been a number of people who have submitted, like, demos of their own stuff. I'd have to go through and dig through the forum posts, but I know those aren't the only 2 who have helped with assets. There's also an unnamed third person that helps Carnifer with graphics. Or if they're not unnamed, I just don't remember the name. Yeah, it's really bugging me. Carnifer has talked about it before, once or twice in other conversations. There was a person they were using for outsourced graphics at some point. Because Carnifer's the one that works with hitboxes. Carnifer entirely shaped the hitboxes for the fist weapons. They're improved because of it, because of their work. Because without it, we most surely would still have broken fist weapons. Needless to say, don't just thank Carnifer. Thank everyone else too. Avidian and Brubballs are the two I think of when I think of these people have submitted real work that Carnifer has actually used in the mod. And the mod would definitely not be where it is today without these... Ouch. I bit the back of my tongue. Without these two other individuals. They really stepped up and have sort of become part of the framework for the team in Elden Ring Reforged. Right. So welcome to Altus Plateau properly. Yes, we went through and did this side area, but that's not the same as welcoming you guys in through a pair of guardian golems. It really ain't. Also, I'm fairly sure these things are immune to death. Look, we have real music, and it isn't just cave ambience. I think magic damage would go over a lot better with these guys. Yep, there's a great archer and a halberd using golem here. You can kill them both pretty easily too. You just have to kind of walk slow. Halberdier less so. Here comes the baby rattler again. Yep. This is just a get away from me right now move. Ow. That hurts. A fire-breathing baby. This thing totally swings as though it were a rattle, and I better pay attention or I'm dead. I can totally see why people say or use that analogy now. Because it's throwing tantrums like one too. You may not be able to freeze, but take a giant magic attack, ow, to the face. Nice. I too love when I am not allowed recovery after an attack. Yeah, you can't freeze these things. They're immune to frostbite. It still does a good chunk of damage to them. And it even still poise breaks. Yeah, you sit there and shovel your rocks at us. Ow. Maybe I shouldn't taunt the Guardian Golem. Leave, or I will have to be... Wow, I cannot. What's that mean? Leave now, or I will be forced to taunt you a second time. Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Something like that. Go watch that film. It's kind of a cult classic on stupid, dumb things that people say that are funny. It's where some of the most... only the most classic of memes come from. So you might be wondering what's down there. If you've been kind of like keeping up with the theming of the maps, you'll realize that that area is kind of looks like an Everjail, doesn't it? Excuse me. And you'd be right. It is an Everjail. Of who? I'll leave that for you to find out. I know who it is. And I think you will be stupefied and surprised when you find out. Also, we totally can't jump down there or we die. Yeah, you're gonna totally rock your socks off as when you see it. It's my jaw dropped when I saw who was in that Everjail. Then I just couldn't believe at the reused assets. Yes, we'll tell you it is something we have fought before. That's about as much as you're going to get from me, though. And it'll be something that you never would really think would have been a reused asset. Although FromSoft is really well known for reusing bosses. They love reusing bosses. Yes, I'll go ahead and drop the fact that it is a boss that we're going to be fighting over again. Oh, but there are over 200 bosses. Many of them are field bosses, so you have over 200 guesses to get it correct. I can tell you it isn't Radagon. I can tell you it ain't the Elden Beast. That's really about it. The rest are all fair game. So I said I'm not exactly showing you the picturesque stuff now, am I? Yeah, I'm showing you like this dark grove. But I suppose one of the things I do want to point out about Altus Plateau is that it has a high degree of contrast to it. You know where all the golden plants are. And when we're talking about gold, who do I think about? Well, currently it's going to be Godric, the Grafted. He was saying something about bathing Limgrave, bathing Limgrave in rays of gold. I think he was probably referring to Altus Plateau. Or talking about returning home to the land bathed in rays of gold. No matter what he was talking about, as soon as you hear rays of gold, your mind should now immediately come to this place. The Golden Lineage Everjail. Well, we have to unlock the jail. Makes sense. Let's go ahead and try to rebuild our FP before coming in here. Because I certainly don't want to be going into an Everjail without as many full resources as I can manage. Because the contents of this Everjail are most certainly going to be very unfortunate. So now we're going to enter said Everjail. That is not what I'm wanting to do. Sorry, I clicked somewhere where I shouldn't have. I'll just let the boss intro itself. I'll see you on the other side. It'll be very apparent what we're fighting in just a moment. That's right, this is Godfroy. This is Godfroy the Grafted. Yes, they really did this. FromSoft reused a boss. Okay, can't run away from that. He'll just do a side swipe. Okay, he's susceptible to Deathblight. Good. I was a little worried he wouldn't be. I mean, it wouldn't be a surprise if he weren't, but, you know. It's nice that he isn't. So what we're basically going to do is just try to kill the guy outright. If you know he's susceptible to Deathblight, use that fact against him. There's the second Deathblight. You thought I wasn't going to use that attempt to get you in that Deathblight as much as I could? Think again, Godfroy. Oh, wait, what? Okay, I guess. Maybe he isn't as susceptible as I think he is. Okay, maybe the proc will happen over and over, but I've procced it like a good 7 times. Alright. Alright, frenzy time. I rolled right into it. That was especially bad. Nice whiff. I thought I had marked him, but I guess the mark wasn't quite there. Or you can't really mark him. I don't know. I'll have to try that again off camera. But yeah, we got the Godfrey icon. Godfrey icon's one of the good ones. I think I only get a limited amount of time to look at it. Enhanced charged spells and skills. A legendary talisman depicting the Elden Lord Godfrey. Raises charge attack power of sorceries, incantations, and skills. Godfrey was a ferocious warrior. When he vowed to become a lord, he took the beast regent Serash upon his back to suppress the ceaseless lust for battle that raged within. Oh, goody. I love when a psychomaniac has to take a rage suppress... No, I'm just kidding. And it sounds like some real intense stuff, huh? Because we should also take a moment to kind of gallop around and look for laden rune pieces. You could be sure there's going to be one somewhere. Or so I think anyway. Maybe hidden amongst the rocks or the trees or, you know, back at the ruins. Kernifer has already shown the propensity for putting the rune pieces in really obscure spots. Oh, well, what do you know? I guess not. Yeah, you totally could have. If you had seen the cliff face here, you could have just traveled down through the cliff face. I just thought it more prudent to take the long way around first. That's all. So now what other little nooks and crannies? And yet, see, this is the alcove right here. That's where we came from. If that makes any sense. We basically did a nice big wraparound. Now we're gonna try to hit the main road area. Or the main highway junction. That's where we're going, the highway junction. How's everyone handling so far? We have half an hour left together. Good God, my face itched like crazy. Okay, I got you, Sir Misbegotten. I'm gonna need you to calm it down. Yeah, calm your wings. Are they firing their own wings at us? That's impressive. Looks like their own wings anyway. Or maybe they're just carrying Stormhawk feathers? These also look surprisingly a lot like actual Stormhawk feathers, and not the ones you use to make the Stormhawk arrows or storm arrows. So maybe we've entered a misbegotten camp. Although we could still ride Torrent, so it's not one of the usual camps. That didn't take long. Yeah, if you see him coming, the Misbegotten are usually not a problem. Well, I say this knowing full well that I play builds that are designed to take advantage of the distance. If you're someone who has to get in close anyway, I guess it can be a problem, huh? So, I suppose the premise is the same, though. Just start smacking them and don't be afraid to use your throwing knives. You might not always get the chance to get up close. So you have to pack tools that are going to help you exchange trades at a distance. You don't want to be doing that. But the consumables are buffed in Elden Ring Reforged. Most of them have, you know, A or S scaling where it matters. For example, probably have to go to the craft menu. If we look at the fire pot, it has S in strength and arcane. If we look at, I don't know, say sleep pots, they have S in arcane. If we look at freezing pots, they have S in int and S in arcane. They're very powerful. I think the lone exception are the rancor pots. Even these darts, look, they have good dex or good strength scaling and excellent dex scaling. Whereas the poison bone darts have good arcane and dex scaling, but not much else. The crystal darts have okay physical scaling and excellent int scaling. Yeah, consumables are very buffed in this game. So don't feel afraid to make them. They are worth your time. You just have to want to use them. And that, you can't really get... I can't help you if you don't want to use them. Nice battle roar. The Misbegotten are not particularly hard fights, but they move around a lot. They're annoyances more than anything. Oh look, more Misbegotten off in the distance. And this portion of the game, I would say, it does kind of look like we're playing just regular old Elden Ring, huh? And perhaps there's only so much of the mod that can be played in one sitting before you do eventually have to go to where you can hardly tell the difference between mod and non-mod, but the casting animations, the spells, the regenerators, the ducking, the deflection, all of that should begin to help you discern that we are in fact playing a mod. And this isn't just, oh, Coin is being delusional, or, you know, he's hacked his game. No, he hasn't hacked his game. It's a mod. Someone else hacked the game, changed up the code. Admittedly, you can only really change code, some animations, and like pointers and stuff. In terms of like the actual physics of the game, you can't change that. That's bound to the Havoc engine. And no one knows how to reverse engineer the engine code. Because if you did, then you could really change everything in the game. Well, hard coding is kind of what annoys the mod makers the most. But that's just how it is. And in Japan, which is where FromSoft is headquartered at, their Japanese company, in Japan, there are laws in place that stop people from modding games and consoles. FromSoft is the exception. They're like, I'm not looking, I don't want to know anything about a mod. They don't exist. They don't exist. when really they know they exist, and they're just turning somewhat of a blind eye to it because they know the Japanese government and whoever is lobbying with them would be a lot harder, a lot harsher on these mods. Nintendo is a Japanese company that actively goes out of its way to stop modders from modding their games. Actively. They'll ban people. They'll DMCA them if they show it off, or work toward a DMCA if it isn't legal, etc., etc. I don't know. Mods are game mods and like hacks are kind of this gray area where, you know, Nintendo will make a stink, but they're not going to do anything if you're not making money off the product. For the most part, it's if there's like real big changes in the mods in the game's representation, if there's real lasting changes in the structure of the game, or if they're trying to make money off it, then Nintendo really has to get involved and they have to sue you. So mod authors, or like hack authors, just, you probably know this already, just don't try to make nice. We got Great Bowed. We're just gonna ride horseback. Nice. Oh, I ate a counter to the face. And I'm not sure what these charge attacks are. Yeah, if you're gonna get in the way, you're gonna eat a spell to the face. He says as he nearly dies with a sword in his face. Alright, this guy is gonna block every attack, so maybe now we take on... Oh, never mind. Go ahead, use your great bow. I would actually prefer that you do this. You gonna jump up here? No, I didn't think so. Thank you, but I'm not interested in what you have to sell, gentlemen. Don't come back. Although, really, I was encroaching on their doorstep, so I'm the traveling salesman that only had one product to offer. Death. And they took it. Hook, line, and sinker. Eventually, I just had to beat it into them first. That's it. We have a new story where the traveling Elden salesman, who, or we're like Lucky Harith or someone like that, and we're doling out any amount of death. Any amount of death that we can deal. And all of these people are unwitting victims. They are test props. Test subjects for our new secret methods of dealing in death.
Bok, this seems ready to make...
What is that crown? I'm not sure what that particular alteration was. At that point, it kind of just looks like part of a skin-tight suit or something. Now, most of the alterations are, oh, nice. You can actually get all the way down to... Alright, we're definitely keeping a a tunic. We're keeping a tunic for our purposes. And I'm not sure why you would want to alter a great piece of gear, but that's there for you. What? Oh. The alteration for the skirt includes booties. I'll take this. Thank you, Bach. Make one of these headbands unaltered. Sure, why not? I do not... One of these is like just a plain blank, and I don't know why.
Please do.
Yes, yes, Bach. Thank you for wishing us well in our journey.
Share them with me.
Now. So I waited for the frames to stop dropping. We're back. So, you might be wondering what exactly I intend to do. Well, we kind of made a beeline for one of the map fragments. So now we're going to make a beeline toward the other. I think it only fitting that we do so. And besides, I get to show you this great palisade, this, we're totally not going to get jumped by a great bow user. Thank you, gentlemen. Instead, what I hope to do is walk nice and slow. And I'll get you. Or not, because the first one knocked him down. Sure, I don't mind standing on the lip of a stair. Yeah, one foot on air and the other foot on ground. Totally reasonable combat structure. I love that. Yeah, no, we didn't beeline it. We went up here, which is where that map fragment was. Okay, I can more or less properly show you, what lies in wait here. Look at all those soldiers and those ballistae. I think we better take the side route. Side route ain't much better. Look at all these extra soldiers that are here. I think I'm getting hit by an archer. But yeah, the real approach is to come over and take out enemies on the side. You don't want to be going into the line of fire of these ballistae. You'll get hurt. Now that over there is a rune bear. You better believe we're going to be killing this thing through Death Blight. No, this is not a rune bear. Rune bears are much bigger, folks. Did I have you going for a second? Nah. Nah, the real danger is up here somewhere. Not this one either. Also not a rune bear. There we are. There's the rune bear. Nice and big, lumbering, strong shoulders. Come on. Alright, that should make it a little weaker. Yep, that's perfect. That grab attack will probably still kill us, but nothing else will. And we'll know when the Death Blight triggers. I've killed this particular rune bear many a times by simply feeding it Death Blight for breakfast. Mr. Rune Bear, give me a dream, the ugliest dream that I've ever seen. I don't know where I was going with that, so I kind of just stopped. Oh, that thing makes me bleed. That's gonna be how it kills me. Alright, I'm getting a little impatient now. And it killed me first! In fairness, usually when I blight this thing to death, I'm usually following it up with poison first. Where's the Stake America take me? Might not have time to kill the Rune Bear and this boss. Okay, up here. Fine by me. I guess let's make, these golden substances. Will that make us any more mark? Nope, that'll make us marks. We're wanting to make golden amalgam. Which we need golden fireflies for. The Altus blooms don't really help us with that. I hear the clip-clop of bear footsteps. Thing's gonna hit hard until it don't. Yeah, I'm gonna die before it starts if I don't pay attention. This is stage 1. Okay. You're serious. There's phase 2. This is not at all what I imagined. Feel like I need to take a break from the... or I'm going to die before I get that opportunity. Yeah, I'm gonna die before I get that chance. I need to poison him first. You can try to outrun a rune bear, but I don't recommend it. Wow, that has some sincere reach. Alright, I'm out of here. I shouldn't be doing... No, actually, I'm gonna let it kill me. Just kill me. Thank you. Thank you. Shouldn't be messing around with rune bears on camera. My problem was choosing to get involved. I shouldn't be trying to do that when I'm trying to show you guys the real prize. The rune bear is a red herring. But it is around the area where something important is, so don't give up. But rune bears are barely worth the time. Usually. Even in Elden Ring Reforged, where you have plenty of ways to modify to modify your rune, like your runes that you get per kill, I still would hardly call it worth it. Even with an extra 1 or 2 flasks, I would probably still run out of resources and still just die. I mean, alright. Ultimately, I'm just bad at the game, and you can totally kill that rune bear. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. Just, what's the point? There are better marks that are worth way more time than a rune bear. And I believe I saw soldiers running down the hill. I believe I want to come up here. Yeah, we can totally make these kinds of jumps. Up there should be a bunch of, Oh, hi, you really did notice. Alright, I'll just let the frost take you. Careful. I'm more than happy to make you guys lose out on this exchange. Just gotta mine the archer up top. Okay, and I also don't want to go too far down the hill, because there are footmen waiting for us down there. You gonna come in over here? No? Alright, then you can die. Look, if you're not going to be able to jump, I'm going to take advantage of it. I can see him off in the distance trying to do that. Well, like on the other side of this mist, and it's not happening. Oh, you made it. You... Oh, never mind. Here, I thought you had it all figured out. You did not. Oh, I love ledge interactions like that. And this is why using terrain is a good idea in Elden Ring or Elden Ring Reforged, because you never know when you're going to have to make use of the terrain. Jeez, I cannot talk all the time, constantly crossing over my words. I know one of my issues is I definitely speak way too quickly. And you gotta slow it down. Realize, you gotta realize when you're speaking too quick for your audience. You thought you were getting away from me, Cerulean Scarab? Not today. And there's a, crimson one on the other side. Up here, past the battlements, will be a pair of bosses. That's right. We have a pair of bosses. Both of them are tree sentinels. And we probably want to prefer to poison them rather than anything else. I can't see behind your fat, butt. I don't know. There is poison, so we can make good use of that. nice. Oh, and like with all dual bosses, you really want to strive to keep it on the screen. Like, keep them both on the screen as much as you possibly can. Because failure to do so, it will get you killed. Man, your brother is blocking all of them shots for you, and I am not doing a very good job of... I have 2 flasks left. Alright, keeping an obstacle right there is probably good. Man, your brother is not gonna let you... Alright, we got one. I gotta... like... And the poison bolt's kind of slow. Nice. Yeah, when there are when there are 2 bosses on the screen, it does make for a tough time, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm dead. That was bad. But that's what awaits us. And it's 7 o'clock and I have school tomorrow. So I can't exactly stay any longer. I was able to do this breakup for us today, guys, so we get our extra 30 minutes as payment, but we can't. I can't be staying. I got a month left. I want to try to finish my term out nice and strong. As strong as I can make it for someone who's probably gasping for air in one of his courses. Needless to say, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it. This probably hasn't been the most titillating content ever, but if you do like it, please feel free to leave me a follow and make sure notices are turned on. And that way you don't miss out on any more of this content. If you guys want to donate or help the stream in some financial way, all of your donations go right towards your own gift subs as a start, and 2, like equipment and other stuff. Every donation you guys make is 1 more gift sub I can probably give someone. And that means more people in the Discord, more people in the community. There's like a whole bulk package. But I know that times are tight with the pandemic and all. I'm all too aware of that myself. So your presence is more than enough, but any financial support you can give is also greatly appreciated, and your donations are never wasted. Please know that. They're always being used toward some kind of useful end. Just like during the 90 minutes of attempts we did on Fortisax, I will go ahead and shout out the same streamer as I did before. We are currently the only one that is doing Elden Ring content is Lobos Jr. That's the one on my list of following anyway. Yeah, they're streaming a randomizer, which is good stuff. Go check him out. He certainly deserves your time. But if you're wanting a nice, relaxing stream, you want your ASMR, you want your, no interaction with chat, and you don't care about the streamer, you just want good content, and you want it quiet, Bob Ross is kind of where you want to be. Hopefully I'm spelling that correctly. We're going to find out if Coin is an idiot. Yep. If you like art streams, you'll enjoy that. But I will also call attention to another streamer before we go. His name is I Ate Your Pie. I would not be an affiliate if it weren't for him and his people. When he raided me so many years ago, that kind of pushed me over the edge into being an affiliate. Making sure I spell it right. He is... I don't know too much about him. But all I will say in that regard then is, if you're wanting more of like an RPG speed run community, because I Ain't Your Pie does a lot of speed runs, go check out his stream. He puts a lot of time into his content. He's also definitely worth an investment of your time. I think I said the same thing twice, but it's just that true. So Wednesday, we'll be picking up with some Mass Effect. Mass Effect 1. And I'll outline all of the specifics then. Alternatively, if you prefer like YouTube or you only want to watch Elden Ring, then I guess I'll see you next Sunday. Or in the case of YouTube, I'll see you Friday with some Grim Dawn. That'll be fun. We're currently toward the last stretch of the main base game. We're going to be delving into Fort Icon, which is... honestly, I've never been there. So that'll be fun. My name is Coin, or Swirling Vortex, or Steven. You can call me any of those 3 names. I go by any of them. And thank you so much for stopping by. You guys are welcome in my hallowed halls anytime. And with that, I will see you guys next time. Take care, and bye-bye.